Good morning. So the other day, I watched a video from David Goggins, Goggins. Awesome guy, fascinating story. He was talking about, in addition to, in addition to discipline, for him, it's about drive and goal setting. Being able to visualize where you're going. It just so happened I also watched a couple days ago a motivational video. It was a speech that Arnold Schwarzenegger did, and he talked about visualizing your goals, and he said that essentially if we have this drive without a goal, without direction, it's like we're flying a plane going around with nowhere to go, and we may end up somewhere where we don't want to be. So when I was listening to these two speeches, it was so clear to me how important goal setting is and being driven. Because to me, now this doesn't apply to everybody. We have different personality types. Some people do well without having to be so, rah. But then there's guys like me that kind of need that rah. I need to be lifted up. And for me, I realized that if I were to say that I'm content in life, that's probably equivalent to me saying that I'm depressed. Because the moment that I'm not driving for something more, I feel like it's the moment that I stop living. And in hindsight, anytime that I wasn't being driven, I was depressed. There was something that wasn't right in my life, and I was, being a victim. So being driven and having a destination as to where you're driving to. And some might say, well, what happens when you get there? Well, you set a new goal. And right now, I've been more and more visualizing and being detailed in what it is that I want, being more specific. Because sometimes we're too vague in our goals, and then when we don't get to where we want to go, it's not that we didn't set a goal, it's that we weren't specific enough as to what direction and where that place is that we want to get to. So I'm getting more detailed in my goals. Literally, I'm seeing myself obtaining from some of my monetary goals. I'm seeing I'm looking at this large number that's in my bank account. And then I'm asking myself, what am I going to do with that? Because if this was a few years back and I was thinking about that large amount of money being in my bank account, I probably would have wound up dead because I was going to go party and rage myself to oblivion. But now I feel like I'm so much more focused on where it is that I'm trying to get to. And having purpose, that's something bigger than myself. Specifically for me, I want to bring love to the narrative for myself and anyone around me. Not to say that someone needs that, but I just feel like the world needs more love. And I know that for myself that I don't always react in love. Sometimes I meet hate with hate, and that's definitely not what I want to do. So that's definitely bringing more love to the narrative for myself specifically, and then like I said, in my environment. And part of doing something bigger for myself, I've been thinking a lot about how I've always wanted a ranch. So this is kind of where that's kind of like a big thing. Like I want a ranch. Cool. But what specifically about this ranch do you want? Well, after going sober and, going down a road of addiction and, seeing what those struggles can be like, I thought, what about a drug and alcohol treatment center, on a ranch? I know that there's plenty of them that exist. They're not ran by me. So I know that where I'm coming from in my place of my heart, I feel like that's what could separate myself. And without going into like a big business plan, I just want to give examples of, thinking of the ranch in itself is a big vague goal, but I can be more specific in that goal by getting more detailed as to what specifically about that ranch I want to do. So I was just trying to give you a little idea. I'm about to get lost in going off telling you about this whole business plan, but that's not my point. It's just to be more specific, because when we are goal setting, we do need to get detailed. We need to have a general idea of where we're going, but let's get specific as to what it takes to get there, and then let's go back, because that's where that drive kicks in. When I go for these runs, there's times I don't even want to do it. There's times I'm driving out to the trail, and I specifically take these longer drives to get to a trail that I love running on because it's beautiful. For the most part, people are friendly when they're out there. I wave to people, it's motivating. But there's days when I'm out there, I don't want to do it. And then when I'm running, I just want to quit. Not every time, but sometimes. And that's where the drive kicks in. And that's something else that I'm learning too, because David Goggins talked about the pain, like he went for, and forgive me, don't quote me, it was something like a 100 to closer to 200 mile run. And he was in a bathtub, like in water, and his mom was on the phone with the doctor, and the doctor's telling the mom to take him to the hospital that he needs to go. And he said, "Mom, just let me sit here and enjoy this pain for a moment." And that was confusing to her. Like, well, what? Why would you want to enjoy this pain? And it clicked. When I look back in my life at some of the pains that I've gone through, they're not exactly the pains that I want to feel. But when I think about getting on that trail and pushing myself, and the pain that I feel in those moments, and the reward that I feel when I'm done, that's the pain of achievement. That's the pain of being on track to get to accomplishment. Because those things feel great when we get there. And we always hear people talk about like falling in love with the process. And that's just it. It's not about the destination. It is about the process. And so when I went for a run today, I pushed myself even further. It was so hot. I felt that pain, but I was looking at it differently. Because I realized, and it's not that my body's telling me I'm in such pain that I need to stop running. I was in the good pain. The feeling of I've already set, here's my goal. I've worked my way back. And these are the things that I need to do to get to where I want to go. And my physical health is a big part of that. Because in order to have balance, which we're always going to hear about this, is you got to have balance in your life. Everything's in moderation. That's why I'm sober, because I wasn't doing things in moderation. So if it's physical, mental, or spiritually, if one of them's out of whack, you're out of balance for all three. So a big part of my goal is to be the most physically fit that I can be, because the more fit I am physically, the more apt I am to accomplishing other things. The more physically fit I am, the tougher I'm going to be mentally. The more endurance that I'm going to have in my day, not just for business, but for my relationships outside of work, with my children. I'm single now, but I like to think that my journey's going to, introduce me to somebody, and I want to be able to have that physical and mental strength and that endurance to be 100% during the day focused on work. And then when I'm done, I don't want to be sitting on the couch saying I'm too tired for anything. I want to come home and feel like a champ all the time. So it's being specific on what my goal is, and then knowing what steps that I need to take. And when I'm feeling those little pain points of when I don't want to do this, but I know I need to, that's the kind of pain that is the feeling of accomplishment, that you're doing the right things to get there. That's right. That's right. I want to be driven to a destination, and making sure that we stay disciplined and driven to do what it takes to get to where we want to go. Because I can ask you, what is it that you want? Be specific. And once you answer that, an equal, if not more important question to ask yourself is, are you ready to have what you want right now. And if you are, reverse from your goal. Now you have a clear plan of action. If you're not physically fit, start there. Do some meditation, clear your mind. My mind was chaos. Sometimes in the day it still gets there, but I've been clearing it. I go for a run, I clear my head. And the more physically fit I'm getting, the more control I am in my head. I'm less reactive than I am or than I was. And that feels incredible. Once again, when I'm sharing this journey and I'm saying you, I'm literally recording this and talking to myself. So this message is as much for me as it is for you. So this is a journey that I'm on, and hope that I can share this journey with you and inspire you, because that makes me feel good. If nothing else, I need this, and the thought of it helping someone else just fills my heart up with joy. And if any of you guys saw the song I wrote for my daughter, My Dearest Mallory, she loved the song. So if y'all saw that, if you haven't, go check it out. I wrote that. It only took me 17 years to write her a song, but she loved it. So my heart is filled with joy right now. Cheers.